Nancy Pelosi and Vicente Gonzalez pick your pocket. Their spending spree sparked record inflation, driving up prices and eating into the value of your paycheck. Now they're pushing a scam they call reconciliation. It's really a $3 trillion tax hike that could cost your family $6,800. And experts warn its higher investment taxes could slam your retirement savings. Remind Gonzalez he works for you. Tell him to stop Nancy Pelosi's tax scam.
Tanto, Wato, y no llovió. Rodman headed to Russia for diplomacy. Apple cyber security hack. Y CHENTE no está con la gente. It is Monday, August 27th, 7:02 a.m. This is Good Morning Bronzo, and my name is Frankie Olivo. Now, over the weekend, um, our award-winning segment failed us again, and I come to you humbled by this weekend's tragic events. It was said that the Rio Grande Valley, Browns or Matamoros, will be seeing a cyclone hit. We did expect close to 6 inches of rain. It was predicted, and all of us, we went to go get sandbags. We frantically went to go to the grocery store to go buy snacks, and unfortunately, it missed us. Maybe that was a good thing. We did see how the cyclone, which was destined for the city of Brownsville and Matamoros area, uh, Cyclone Daniel, did manage to miss us. And again, throughout Friday, Saturday, we made no plans. Our friends invited us to Good Morning Glory, which we respectfully declined because we said, "Hey, it's going to rain. I don't want to be out when it's pouring rain." So my plans did change, uh, but it just seems as if the weather, one day, a few seconds we're bound to get hit, and the next we don't get nothing. We just get scattered showers. But in a city such as Brownsville, maybe that's a good thing. Our infrastructure is not up to par. We see once we get a few droplets of rain, Four Corners, Boca Chica, streets on Price, some on 802, they flood. So even though we missed this cyclone, Daniel, which was headed straight towards us, and we were going to get 6 inches of rain, maybe it's a good thing that it didn't hit us. Again, the city of Brownsville has not worked on their infrastructure, and we do have streets that, for a few inches of rain, it gets flooded. In here today in the Rio Grande Valley, we are looking at 81 degrees right now, 7 in the morning. Later on throughout the day, it should be hot and humid. We should possibly be reaching 90 degrees. So again, we did miss out on a cyclone, but maybe it was a good thing because the city of Brownsville, we don't have our infrastructure up to par. And as we all know, if it rains a little bit, it definitely will flood. So even though Good Morning Brownsville missed yet again, we are here and we will continue to present the news, our award-winning segment, Emmy-nominated segment, The Weather, will continue to be broadcasted each and every podcast that we jump on. So thank you to my community for your patience. Once again, we did miss on that cyclone, but maybe it's a good thing that we didn't get hit. Now, Dennis Rodman made his name and his money in basketball. And who could forget during the mid 90s how he helped Michael Jordan win championships? And Dennis Rodman has always been a polarizing figure, someone that always has had all eyeballs on him, whether he was on the court. And who can forget also, he was part of Hulk Hogan's NWO, Bash at the Beach. Who can forget those legendary pay-per-views? We have seen Dennis Rodman outside of the basketball court in the wrestling ring. But much attention has been brought to Dennis Rodman after his professional career, either as a basketball player an entertainer. And who can forget, he also came out in the movie with Jean-Claude Van Damme. But since his retirement from basketball and wrestling, we have seen how Dennis Rodman has been active politically throughout the world. We have seen him travel to North Korea. The leader, Kim Jong-il, is an avid sports fanatic, and he grew up watching the Bulls dominate and win those 6 championship rings. And he is very fond of the Chicago Bulls, and more in particular of Dennis Rodman. Dennis Rodman was able whenever he did go, he was able to free an American who was captured and held in North Korea. The interesting thing was that North Korea right now is at odds and has been at odds with the United States. It was because of Dennis Rodman that many political analysts say that is what brought the United States and North Korea to the table. Who could forget that historical event when President Trump met Kim Jong-il on the border? And they did meet for the very first time, which is historic because we haven't had that representation, that dialogue with the leader from North Korea. And the plug was Dennis Rodman. So he has freed someone from North Korea, and now it seems he's headed to Russia. And we've spoken previously about the prisoner exchange that the United States has offered Russia. Currently, right now, Brittany Griner was found guilty for contraband. She did have a gram of THC cartridge in her luggage, and she was sentenced recently to 9 years. And we have seen how the United States has been frantically trying to make this headline news. And we have heard from President Biden, his administration, people, sports enthusiasts, how they have wanted the United States to have an active role in bringing Brittany Griner back home. And who can forget the discussion of the prisoner exchange, where we offered an arms dealer, we offered individuals, mercenaries who were set to kill and provide weapons to kill the United States, to harm democracy. We're willing to give an individual of that caliber for a pothead, for a pot smoker who smuggled THC into the country. Well, now Dennis Rodman also claimed that he does have a good relationship with President Putin. Back in 2008, he went to Russia and he has that open dialogue. Will this be the United States saving grace? An individual who is polarized, and who could forget Dennis Rodman? He married himself. He's openly stated that Madonna offered him $20 million for him to have a baby with her. He married Carmen Electra. He was this party boy, wild child throughout the 90s and still today, it seems. But of all people that we would think that would go to a foreign country and discuss diplomatic issues is something unheard of. We have seen it. We have seen it. I'm the same way, my man. My bad. We have seen it, how he did his magic in North Korea. He was able to free an American. He called Kim Jong-il and he said, hey, you know what? Do me this favor. We have an American. Let me know what you can do. That American was released the very next day. Now, Dennis Rodman is headed. He's headed to Russia. And the goal is to free Brittany Griner. And once again, many... good morning, Mr. Padilla. I hope you have a great day, sir. Thank you for your service to our country. And thank you for keeping Cameron County safe. Special shouts out goes to the Cameron County Sheriff's Office, our men and women that are keeping us safe. Thank you so much for your time and your attention. I hope you have a great day today, sir. Thank you so much. So of all people that we are going to possibly see the release of this professional basketball player, many have questioned and said, are we willing to do this? Are we willing to give up a dangerous individual whose goal was to kill Americans. We're gonna give him up for a pothead, for a pot smoker. But of all people, Dennis Rodman, the playboy, the wild child, Mr. Rebound. He did it once in Korea, and he said that he's destined for Russia. Is this a saving grace? Is Dennis Rodman a celebrity? Is he going to bring both our current administration and Putin's regime to the table to discuss prisoner exchange? This will be monumental because it will show that individuals not in politics are able to discuss diplomacy with world leaders. This is something unheard of, but this is something that Dennis Rodman has done previously in North Korea, in freeing an American, and now he's going to be doing the same or attempting to be doing the same when he travels to Russia, and he will personally talk to President Putin for the release of Brittany Griner. Now, Apple is 3 weeks away from unveiling its iPhone 14. And who can forget, around September and October, Apple always has this convention where they advise us of the different products, that be MacBooks, iPhones, AirPods, iPads, of the different technology that they will be introducing. And many avid iPhone fanatics, always wait for this convention because we always get to know and learn, the different updates, software modifications that will be done. And many individuals, they switch phones every time there's a new model release. So Apple currently right now is in the process of unveiling new products. But recently, Apple has been in the news for all the wrong reasons. And that, my friends, should alarm us because it has to do with our security. And who can forget today, in a time of age where cyber attacks, cybersecurity is very, very important. I was having a discussion yesterday and I stated nobody robs banks no more. Only fools rob banks. Why? Because our technology, our infrastructure in the banks have made it very difficult for individuals. It's not like Billy the Kid, how back in the day in the Wild West, you just walked in, asked for money, and took off. Now with the use of technology, cameras, many eyeballs are around. Every street corner has a video camera. Now, we don't have the threat. Well, there is that possibility, of course, but we don't have that threat as much that people are attacking our financial systems. Now they are attacking us via our phones, via our emails. And what have we seen? Individuals, hackers messaging us, hey, could you send me $1,200? What would you do with $1,200? I just got a message this morning, which I was pissed off. I just got a message this morning. Hola, si te depositaría $3,500 en tu aplicación de efectivo ahora, ¿para qué los harías? And it sends you a link. Hacking, ladies and gentlemen, is more prevalent nowadays. Why? Because technology, everything is run through technology. Now we are starting to veer away from robbing banks. And now the thing is to access people's phones, to access their personal data, their banking, their routing number, their banking account number. Our personal information is very important to these hackers. And that our information is sold on the World Wide Web in the black market for millions and millions of dollars. Apple just recently announced that they will be having an update, and we highly recommend that all iPhone users, whether Apple users, whether that be you have a MacBook, you have an iPhone, you have an iPad, AirPods, you need to download the latest software, which is the iOS 15.6.1. And that, my friends, is solely due to security reasons. There have been a large amounts of hacking, and Apple found a loophole in its system that have allowed hackers to gain access. And we're talking access to your phone, that they're able to go through your pictures, they're able to enact and open up the camera, open up your text messages, your WhatsApp, your Snap. They control everything. Once again, there are been a large amounts of hacking that is being done. We need to be very careful. When individuals send you a link, don't click on it. When individuals text you and say, "Oh, this is Juanita. How are you today?" You don't know a Juanita? Don't respond from a number you don't recognize. Hacking, ladies and gentlemen, hacking hacking has been something that has been very prevalent as of late because of the use of technology. And we have seen how identity theft has been very big. And as you and I know, once you lose your identity, once it's out in the black market, it's very hard to control that. Why? Because they're able to access your social security number, your personal information. We have heard of cases where individuals have had uh, cases in other states where they either file their income tax or they apply for loans under their name. Why? Because they have all the information. Again, if you are an Apple user, you need to download this software as soon as possible. This is it's a security breach that Apple has found in its system. The thing is, hey, we were all expecting it. So I do apologize. I do apologize. Tanto Wato y panada. But again, technology is a good thing. Yes, it is a good thing. But like everything, it has its flaws. And again, the use of technology has been used a lot more and should alarm us because now hackers are able to do what they wish. Now we don't have people breaking into banks, breaking into vaults. Now they break into our phones to access our most important information. So if you are an Apple user, make sure you download this latest software. It's very, very important moving forward. And is always we always have to maintain that we have our softwares up to date for situations like this. We will be bringing on a security expert within the next few days, possibly weeks. I do want to designate an allocated time for him. That way, he can give us more in-depth information of what he sees from his profession. He even discussed how TikTok, a social media platform that is heavily used, by many teens, and it is a social media platform that has been very big here in the United States. The issue is that the government of China is the one that owns that application, and many individuals have stated they're able to access your location, your whereabouts, access your phone, your information through TikTok. But that's for another day. We will be bringing on a security expert to talk to us about cyber hacks and cyber security. The software for the iOS is 15.6.1. It was recently released a few days ago. So if you haven't downloaded this latest software, make sure you do so because we could be susceptible to hacking. Now, local governments. We have property taxes that are collected by our local appraisal district, our county, and these property taxes they assist with money being generated for our police department, our firefighters. Also, a majority of the property taxes is collected for our school system. Here, BISD, being one of the largest school districts of San Antonio, we get a large amount of our money, of our resources from property taxes. There are exceptions for individuals paying for property taxes. There are historical designations where the state does signify and show that that probably the road there is some exemptions. The historical landmark that houses have, does allow individuals not to pay taxes because of its historical significance to either the city or the state. But nonetheless, property taxes are very, very important. Why? Because they are the ones that fund our schools. They are the ones that fund our police, our fire department, and these are very important to us. Why? Because we need these resources. These are vital for our everyday lives. And again, currently, those people that do pay taxes, there are some exemptions and these exemptions are subtracted. An individual who is 65 or older, they are able to qualify for an exemption. Also, if an individual has a certain disability, and if I'm not mistaken, there is a veterans uh, exemption that individuals are able to apply, and this allows individuals who are disabled, I believe, who are veterans and who are over the 65 years of age, are able to have a homestead exemption for their home, meaning that they don't pay taxes. Now, while those over 65 and those who have a disability, they don't pay taxes, there's still a note that accrues. Just because they're 65, that doesn't mean that they still don't owe. It just means that they're exempt and they don't really have to pay at that time because of their age. But something that caught our attention this past week was that we learned that Congressman Vicente Gonzalez has not been paying his share of taxes. It was reported that Vicente Gonzalez and his wife, that they defied property tax law for 8 years by claiming 2 home exemptions. Now, the interesting thing about this issue was that we're not dealing with people who are naive, people who are green, first-time homeowners who don't know the process of paying for their taxes. Now, Vicente Gonzalez, he is a polished politician. He is an attorney, an individual who is skilled at what he does. We are not dealing with your average Joe. His wife, I believe, is an administrator or teacher at one of the schools in Hidalgo County, I believe Edinburgh at one time. We're not dealing with individuals who don't know the process, who don't know the system. We can't say that they are deer in headlights. Oh, we didn't know. And again, these 2 properties in question, one is a home that is valued over $500,000, which constitutes as the couple's marital home, which that house currently has a home exemption. The property in question, according to Vicente Gonzalez, is that was owned or is owned by the wife. And it is alleged that this property in question, which is a little bit over $200,000 according to the Hidalgo County Appraisal District, that is the second exemption that was placed on the home. Now, again, we are not dealing with your common Joes. We're not dealing with individuals that don't have the resources, that don't have the ability to check, hey, what we're doing, is it proper? Again, Mr. Vicente Gonzalez is a multi-millionaire. He does not have accountants. He does not have those individuals that are assisting him with his taxes to assist him and guide him and say, hey, you could only do an exemption on one or the other. But let's focus on Vicente Gonzalez. And he did state that, you know what, it was an oversight. For 8 years, we didn't know. You know, how am I supposed to know what my wife has been doing? Am I a keeper of my wife? Vicente Gonzalez has stated that Mayra Flores, his opponent, 90 days away, his opponent is confused. And he stated that she is not in touch with the Hispanic community. He says that there are just talking points for the Republican Party, but that has been his issue. That he thinks that Mayra Flores is confused and that the Democrats aren't losing touch with the with the community. Well, let's talk about this oversight. Vicente Gonzalez stated that there was an oversight, that for 8 years, him and his wife weren't paying taxes. Again, this is an attorney, ladies and gentlemen. This is a congressman, one of the highest positions in all the land of Texas, before the presidency, of course. This is a made man. This is an individual who has resources at his disposal. If he doesn't know, his accountant should know. Those preparing his taxes should know. His financial advisors should know. But let's take a look at Vicente Gonzalez. He violated a law of conflict of interest by him not disclosing that he sold stock. And you might say, hey, it's stock. But again, he's not a common folk. He's somebody that needs to report these things. Vicente Gonzalez waited nearly a year to report that a stock that he sold was worth over $15,000. Vicente Gonzalez does not know it was an oversight that he couldn't pay for 8 years his taxes. Now we get word that Vicente Gonzalez waited nearly a year to report that he sold stock for $15,000. And let's not forget China CHENTE. China CHENTE, for years, he had an account worth between $100 and $250,000 in a bank of China. Now, can't we see what is going on here? We have a congressman, a very smart individual, talented individual, who is stating that his Republican opponent is out of touch, that she does not seem to know, that she's confused. But isn't it Vicente Gonzalez who's confused? An individual who is an attorney, a skilled profession. Oh, he didn't know that we were supposed to pay taxes. Oops. It was an oversight. Oh, it was an oversight that I didn't report $15,000. It was an oversight that I didn't pay taxes for 8 years. It was an oversight that it announced that I made $15,000 off a stock sale. It was an oversight that I have $250,000 in a China bank. It was an oversight. Ladies and gentlemen, this individual is wanting your vote. We are 90 days away from this midterm elections, and it is very, very important. Again, I would only discuss what I know because everything else will be hearsay. But for 35 years of my existence, South Texas has not had anything to hang their hat on. We do not have economic development. We do not have job growth. We do not have any prosperity, any resources available for our future generations to use. The only thing we have to hang our hat on is SpaceX. But as we all know, SpaceX was geographically situated for the company. We here in Brownsville, Texas, we didn't do much of anything. We didn't do much of anything to bring Elon Musk down. Again, this is an individual who is asking for your vote. What do you have to say about an individual who uses his position to not pay taxes for 8 years? Don't you think that if it was you and I, us common folks, us peasants, us normal people, us poor people, what would you think the Hidalgo County appraisal district would have done to us? They would have hounded us. They would have taken us to court. They would have filed a lawsuit. Look, I'm very familiar of the process. My former partner was part or is part of a tax collecting firm. And I do know about exemptions, and I do know about lawsuits, and I do know about the process. Now, when individuals aren't paying their taxes, they are hounded, ladies and gentlemen. They are contacted, reminded every couple months, hey, you owe money. There's only one, you can only do one exemption. If it was you and I, us common folks, will we have been giving that same courtesy? Or, ladies and gentlemen, will we have been taken to court? Will we have to spend thousands of dollars to hire an attorney to represent us? Will we have to spend thousands of dollars to having to pay that money that is owed? An individual, ladies and gentlemen, is coming and asking for your vote. And he's saying, vote for me, even though I didn't pay taxes for 8 years. Vote for me because I didn't advise for 1 year that I made $15,000 off the sale of stock. Vote for me because I have $250,000 in a China bank. What applies to individuals such as Vicente Gonzalez and other political echelons, those elite, what applies to them, ladies and gentlemen, does not apply. Good morning, Manny. Hope you have a great day. Special shout out goes to District 1. Thank you so much for your time. Have a great day, my man. Don't you see what is happening here, ladies and gentlemen? If it was you and I, don't you think they would have taken us to court? Don't you think they would have filed a lawsuit? Don't you think they would have hounded us and made a mockery out of us? Special shout out goes to all the beautiful people in Los Indios. Thank you so much to our chief, and our men and women in uniform at the Los Indios Police Department. Thank you so much for your time and your attention, sir. You have a great day. If it was you and I, if it was Frankie Olivo, they would have made a mockery of him. They would have filed a lawsuit. They would have brought him to court. They would have made him pay and made an example of them. But if you're an attorney, if you rub elbows with those elite, those cushy circles, you get a pass. You get a break. Here we have, ladies and gentlemen, an individual who wasn't paying taxes for 8 years, and he's coming to you for your vote. You have an individual that did not report that he made over $15,000 off of a sale in the stock market. He wants your vote. You have an individual that has $250,000 in China. Have you heard anything about that? Was that an oversight? He claims that Miss Mayra Flores, Congresswoman Mayra Flores, is confused and is out of touch with the community. Well, Vicente Gonzalez had an oversight for 8 years of not paying taxes. Vicente Gonzalez did not know that he had to report that he made $15,000 in the stock market. Vicente Gonzalez did not advise us that he has an interest in China because he's got $250,000 in their banks. It is not Mayra Flores, ladies and gentlemen, who is confused. It is an outsider. It is Congressman Vicente Gonzalez. His slogan goes, "Chente con la gente." What do we have to say about that? After learning that Vicente Gonzalez hasn't paid taxes in 8 years, he doesn't report that he made $15,000 in the stock market, and him having $250,000 in a China bank signifies to us that Chente no está con la gente. And that, my friends, is the rest of the story. Tanto Wato y ni llovió. Maybe it was a good thing that the city of Bronzo, Matamoros, did not have this much anticipated rain. It was forecasted that the city of Bronzo was going to be receiving six inches of rain due to our poor infrastructure. Maybe it's a good thing. We might have saved ourselves. Some bad days ahead of us. Rodman is heading to Russia. We have seen how Dennis Rodman has used diplomacy and having an American freed from North Korea when he visited the country and the president. Now he is going to be headed to Russia to try and free the American basketball player that was sentenced to 9 years for taking THC cartridge in her luggage. Will he be successful? What will this signify for the world that a celebrity is able to do what politicians aren't? That is very, very big. Apple cybersecurity hack. If you are an Apple user, make sure you download the latest software, 15.6.1. This software update is just in particular for security breaches. Apple did find that there was loopholes in their system, which allowed hackers to gain your personal information. They're able to have access to your phone, pictures, text messages, and this information could be sold for millions of dollars on the World Wide Web. Gente no está con la gente. We see how an outsider from Hidalgo County is coming to our area and asking for our vote. He claims that that Congresswoman Mayra Flores is confused and is out of touch with our community. But then he states, "Oh my God, it was an oversight that I didn't pay thousands of dollars in taxes. Oh, it was an oversight that I didn't disclose that I made $15,000 off of a sale. Oops, I was confused that I didn't disclose that I had $250,000 in a China bank." Gente no está con la gente. As midterm elections come up, let's vet our clients and see who are they really working for. Are they working for you and I? Will they be working for you and I? Or are they working for themselves and not paying taxes and not disclosing how much money they made off the stock market and not disclosing that they have $250,000 in a China bank? And that, my friends, is the rest of the story. It is Monday, August 22nd, 7:36 a.m. Thank you so much for your time and your attention. Happy Monday. Have a great day. Hope to see you here on Wednesday. God bless.